Is that Kevin? Oh, we're going to... Kevin Smith.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin Smith. How are you?
How are you guys?
Hey, were they playing Clerks in Central Park yesterday?
That's why I'm calling in. It's happening on Sunday.
Oh, Sunday. Because I do a lot of biking, and I bike...
Oh, wait, I'm bad. My bad. It's Saturday night.
Oh, man.
Because I was biking...
Two things that I'm going to tell you about. What about the bike? Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just biking around, and I saw where they're going to have the festival.
That's pretty cool.
They're doing a quick little mini movie festival in Central Park. And I knew
really
Kevin Smith had...
Every summer they do this festival in the park, and then they do this voting online to let you pick the last movie. And this year it was Clerks or Coming to America, and so folks voted up Clerks, and Clerks gets to play. It's a Saturday night in Central Park. I think it's in it's called Sheep's Meadow.
Yeah.
And Brian O'Hollander played Dante. He's going to get up, introduce it, and do Q&A and stuff.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I'm going to be in Ottawa on stage, so I won't be there.
Oh, you won't be able to make it?
Pretty cool.
It's close to Sheep Meadows.
Which is a bummer, man. Like, can you imagine? It's coming up on the 20th year.
Yeah.
Coming up on the 20th anniversary. And 20 years ago when we made that flick, never in a million years did we imagine it would be exhibited at all, let alone in Central Park.
Yeah.
Later. So that's a very cool thing for us.
That is pretty goddamn cool. Man, anybody else from the movie going to be there?
I know for a fact Brian's going.
Okay.
Jason Mewes is going to be with me, or maybe actually he's flying down to Jersey too, so he might go there. We have a pretty busy weekend. Right now I'm in Florida. I just went to Star Wars Celebration 6, which was amazing.
What was that all about?
They do a convention every other year, the Lucasfilm, the Star Wars organization, and essentially they throw their own Comic-Con, but just for Star Wars fans. So it's called Star Wars Celebration. This is the sixth time they've done it, I guess, here in the States. I think they've done it twice abroad. So it is like a gathering, 25, 30, 50,000 Star Wars fans over the course of 3 days in Orlando. Yeah, it's pretty damn neat, and I got up to Q&A last night, a normal Q&A show, but it was very Star Wars centric, so that was a lot of fun.
What kind of cool shit was there?
Yeah.
Oh, they've got stuff on display on the floor. There's people walking around cosplay. I mean, if you're remotely a Star Wars fan, bring a wallet because, boy, they got stuff that you've never seen before.
Really?
You know, vendors coming from all over the country and stuff. So it's neat, man. It's an eyeful, and the people are just so sweet, dude. You know, you talk about a bunch of Star Wars fans.
Yeah, a bunch of Star Wars geeks. You know, they're pretty harmless.
You could come down here and dominate. You could literally come down here and take over the con.
Yeah.
They're nice, but they're soft.
I want to go to that really bad.
That does sound like something that'd be pretty fun.
Never.
It's a good time, man. Like I went up on stage last night to do the Q&A. I got a little emotional because I was talking about the kid I used to play Star Wars with when I was a kid. His name was Pete King. He would come down from Brooklyn to New Jersey every summer. His family had a bungalow. So, his dad worked for, I think it was the Power and Light Company in the city. And when it came to the summertime, he just wanted to get out of there, bring his family down to Highlands because, there's a beach there and a seaside community. So Pete King had every Star Wars figure there was and the big toys and play sets. So he'd come down every summer and we'd sit there and play Star Wars. And I was telling the cats last night that, when he was about 19, 20, he stopped coming down. We stopped playing Star Wars around the age of 13. He got more into punk rock and stuff like that. And one day he was out with his friends, stepped off a curb in Manhattan and just got slammed by a taxi cab. And,
oh, man.
It was really sad. So when I was on stage.
That's not a happy story.
It's not very happy story to begin the Star Wars celebration with, but I
man.
told them that, and then, said it's kind of like me and Pete finally made it. So it was a really, really nice moment. And then, of course, lots of Mon Mothma jokes and stuff like that.
Of course.
Humor. Every Star Wars joke I always thought was too obscure to include in a movie, I was able to bring out last night.
Yeah, they'll get them.
Kevin, did you go to a... Did you go to a Star Wars the orchestra thing live when they did that?
No, but I heard it was fantastic where they performed the score live with the movie.
It was amazing. Well, first of all, in the lobby of the venue, they had all actual memorabilia from the movie. So I took pictures of the actual Han Solo frozen in carbonite, the actual thing.
Oh, really?
Shit like that.
That's awesome.
And then you go in. There's an orchestra. There's the biggest LCD screen ever of all time or whatever behind the stage, and they play there's a live symphony and chorus there, and they play to the clips, but they play it perfectly timed live
man.
Wow.
to the footage
That's
of the
pretty cool.
That's
and
awesome.
and then Anthony Daniels, C-3PO, narrates the whole thing, and he tells the story of all 6 Star Wars movies over the music. And they start with the fucking 20th Century Fox thing and Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away. And like, dude, I'm getting chills talking about it. I literally cried through the first like 5 minutes of it
Through your tears.
out of excitement.
You just were weeping openly from the music.
I get so excited at shit like that, it makes me cry.
Music does
I cried
something.
at fucking the last
Wicked?
Batman movie. That scene in Dark Knight Rises when the lights go out in that garage and that cop goes, "Oh, you're in for a show tonight, kid," and you're like, "Batman's coming back! He's coming back!" Like I cried from that.
DeRosa.
Good for you,
That was
Joe.
not the moment. That wasn't the moment for me. The moment I started crying in Dark Knight was when he was flying away. Spoilers. He's flying away with the nuclear weapon, and it's him and in the bat by himself, and they're playing that like high pitched kid singing like
Oh, yeah,
like
that.
as he's sailing out, and I was like, they cut to a shot of him flying, and I got sad because I was like, man, oh man, like they'll never cut this guy a break. Now he's going to be killed by a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
As we've all seen the movie, there's a bit of a different ending.
Yeah, but why
Yes.
why can't they just have him dead?
Because it's Batman.
But come on.
Batman, like part of the trick of Batman is like he's almost invulnerable. He's a human.
Yeah.
This is the double-sided coin of Batman. Everyone who likes him because they see themselves in Batman. Like he's got no superpowers. He's not from another planet. He's not supernatural. He's not a mutant. Here's a dude who just trained really hard and he's got access to untold wealth. So because of that, he's a normal person who can become a superhero. So that's why people identify with Batman. But the odd thing is, you want Batman to be as invulnerable as Superman. Like he's unerringly correct, always in the right place at the right time, has the right thing to say, knows where to put his fist, where a dude is about to attack him from nowhere. His fist comes up, takes him out. Everything about Batman has to be so incredibly calculated where even if he's facing down the smartest person in the world, he's like, I've already beat you 10 minutes ago, and then he explains how or something. So when you see, if you're watching that movie and you're like, you can't kill Batman, Batman can never die.
Yeah.
He actually gave fans the Batman ending that every Batman fan needs, which is like, oh, Batman would never die. Like, he found a way out of that plane. Even though the nuclear
But
blast
that's
radius-
why it would have been cool.
No, you can't kill Batman.
Yes, that's why it would have been
It's
cool.
do you realize people will
Superman
accept
before Batman.
people will accept Jesus getting killed at the end of a movie before they'll accept Batman getting killed?
Batman has to be more powerful than Jesus.
True. Very true.
So wait a second. So Saturday, there's that Central Park screening at Clerks, totally free. Anyone can go up to it and stuff. Sunday, I'm gonna give you a chance to come be on TV. We do that show Comic Book Men on AMC.
Yep. Yeah.
That's coming back. I just saw the first episode of the new season. It was fantastic. They cut it together. It'll be on in October. On Sunday, we're doing a signing for that book I wrote, Tough Shit, down at the Secret Stash in Red Bank, but we're shooting the whole thing for Comic Book Men. So everybody online, people coming up to the table, man, there's an opportunity for you to be on the actual show with us from 2 to 5 on Sunday. Come down to Red Bank for the signing and be on Comic Book Men with us.
Yeah, and just going down to the shop is pretty goddamn cool. You got some great stuff down there.
It is,
Yeah.
if you're into that stuff, you're remotely into the movies we made, there's props hanging up and whatnot. But if you're one of those people who's like, I should be on TV. If Fat Kev Smith's on TV and he's untalented, I too should be on television. Here is your absolute chance to do it. Sunday from 2 to 5. Going back to something we were talking about before, man, the Star Wars thing with the live orchestra.
Yeah.
I saw Bugs Bunny on Broadway at the Garden State Arts Center in 1993. And it was basically same thing. They took all these clips from classic Warner Brothers cartoons, like, Kill the Rabbit and all the very musical episodes. And they had the live orchestra performing it. It's pretty damned impressive, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, when you watch those old cartoons and realize that, I mean, there was an orchestra going over every little tiptoe move that the characters made, all of those, when they're running, all of them had a song behind it, and it wasn't just some stock music that they threw. It really is amazing the work that went into a fucking cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, when we watched those cartoons as kids, we thought, clearly these were made for us to entertain us on syndication on a after school or Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
But those were theatrical shorts meant for an audience that wasn't just primarily children. Most
Right.
of those shorts were viewed by adults, so they poured everything into them. You're talking about gorgeous 24-frame animation, not the limited animation stuff we were used to from Hanna-Barbera and other companies.
Oh, when it just got shitty, right? Oh, the animation got crap.
Background over and over
Yeah.
again. Or even now, you know, in the age of Flash animation, like all of us can be animators. But watching those Warner Brothers cartoons where they were doing feature animation at 24 frames a second, I mean, every second of film contains 24 separate images to make up that second. It's lustrous. It looks almost real, even though it's a cartoon. And then on top of it, they built those amazing scores. They got full orchestras, and their name, the guy's name escapes me. It begins with an L. And composed all of that music and poured it on top of it, and then included jokes that were aimed squarely at the older audience sitting there watching it. So as we grew up, we're watching the Warner Brothers cartoons and being educated as well as being entertained. Unfortunately, we also grew up as a generation that's like, if you got a problem with somebody, drop an anvil on their head.
I wish. Jesus Christ.
Well, it's like that era of Tom and Jerry where the Nelson Riddle years or whatever.
Yes.
Like, you know, like those are defined as the good Tom and Jerry years, you know?
Yeah. Then they got bad. Yeah, they got animation got cheap.
And there's one era, actually, that people figure the best Tom and Jerry, ironically, because most people will always be like, Hanna-Barbera and their limited animation. But Hanna-Barbera did the original Tom and Jerry theatrical cartoons, the ones that everyone loves, you know, not the ones later on where they're friends. Sometimes they're talking. Sometimes it looks very limited, the animation. But the ones that were made back in the 50s and 60s were made by Hanna-Barbera before they started their TV animation division. And that's when they figured out, like, well, we could save money doing limited animations. Instead of 24 frames a second, we'll do like 12 or 15.
Yeah.
So, but those cats who brought us, you know, a wealth of wonderful characters, and all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons and stuff, started by doing something even better looking, and that was those original Tom and Jerry cartoons that we all did.
Even as a kid, I realized, like, the sucky animation, when it was just the background, the character, and all that moved was the mouth when they had to talk. Like that and it was just open and close. It was a horrible thing, and even as a kid, I was like, this isn't as good as like watching the Roadrunner or...
Oh, that's not true.
Right.
I thought the Flintstones house was that long.
Yeah, the Flintstones. Well, the Flintstones were fun stories.
Holy fuck, he could run.
But the animation was limited.
That was prime time animation. The Flintstones was a show like The Simpsons.
Right.
Yeah.
At nighttime.
Remember how long that fucking house was?
Yeah.
The Flintstones house?
Yeah,
it was a long house.
But then you see it from the
cavernous.
outside, it was a short house.
Yeah, they didn't give a fuck.
They didn't care.
Fucking cocksuckers. That's why it was so cool when Disney started to bring back the animated, because not that I don't appreciate computer animated stuff, but it's just not quite as cool as the
Never will be.
as the hand-drawn, hand-painted
It'll never
stuff.
be
It's
as
absolutely
fucking
cool.
No, I'm not saying it's not cool. I'm just saying it's not quite as astounding to me to look at and go, Jesus Christ, this is hand-painted, as Kevin said, 24 fucking frames per second.
On an artistic level.
That is insane. And I know CG takes forever, or computer animation, excuse me, takes forever to do. But there's something about you know, it's so fun. I was in here one time with that guy, Chuck, was in here promoting that movie Tangled. And we started talking about this, and I go, listen, man, it's really cool that you're in this Disney movie, but, you know, I really miss those hand-painted, drawn ones. And he goes, no, this is one of those. I feel like such a fucking idiot.
I've come a long way with that shit. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
What's that?
I watch a lot of animated films because I got a young kid. It's amazing.
One of my favorites that you know, they've kind of, I wouldn't say stopped 2D animation, but yes, it's predominantly the CG stuff right now. But one of Disney's last 2D animation, I think The Princess and the Frog was the last one they did. But prior to that, maybe two back, was, I thought, one of their best, Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, yeah, with a little
2D animation.
Little
It clearly could have been CG because it takes place in space and lends itself to colorful characters and whatnot, and renditions in the CG world. But their 2D animation of that was so wonderful and so beautiful, it popped it to life almost like it is a Pixar flick.
Yeah. I remember going to see that one, and I don't even have a child.
So who's that creepy dude over there?
Yeah, exactly. it's just me.
Yeah.
Wow, you find yourself in the middle of a Catch a Predator episode. Like, this gentleman wants to see Lilo and
Stitch. Anthony, why don't you just take a seat, leave the popcorn right over there?
Yeah, we've got a plate of cookies over here for you, Ant.
Ooh. You brought Zima and condoms.
Hey, Kevin, were you happy with Batman overall?
Which one? Batman?
Yeah, the last one.
I'm a big Batman fan, so I did 2 podcasts. We do a podcast now called Fat Man on Batman, where that's all I talk about is various aspects of Batman. I've had a lot of people from the cartoon on recently, but I started there with a review, and then we continued the review over on the next episode of Smodcast. It was a 3-hour podcast. I'm not even lying. I'm a little ashamed to say it, but the second episode is literally me telling my friend Scott Mosier the entire movie from end to end, and with almost insane stoner-like detail. Having seen it only 3 times at that point, I literally reiterate the entire movie to Scott. He still hasn't seen it. He's like, there's no point in seeing it. What you told me is so much better than anything I could ever see.
How many times have you seen it now?
I saw it 3 on opening weekend. I saw it Thursday night before the troubles happened in Colorado. I saw it the next day on Friday with my wife when we were doing the show Spoilers. And she wasn't even going to go, but she got real indignant about the Colorado thing. And she's like, fuck terrorism. We're going to the movies, even though she didn't want to go. I thought that was kind of brave. And then on the next day, I took my kid to go see it. So I saw it all 3. I saw it the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on opening weekend. I liked it quite a bit. There's definitely some plot holes or some stuff that I was like, man, are they going to tell us one more time that the autopilot doesn't work? There's little stuff like that. And the fact that Bane is an incredible badass who gets taken out by Catwoman and a gun at the end of the movie, and Batman never really gets to beat him. But other than that, I thought they did some nice closure. It was epic, dude. That movie was so massive. It just looked like it was a disaster movie, a comic book movie, a vigilante movie, a war movie, all at once. It was very ambitious, and when all was said and done, the first time I watched it that Thursday night, I didn't even have a seat. I was standing for 2.5 hours in the back.
Jesus Christ.
Never once felt it. Never once was I like, so I need a chair. I was so enthralled by it.
Why wouldn't they give you a seat? You're Kevin Smith.
They had sold out that screening, and I went up real late, and so we know the folks up at the theater at Universal City Walk because we've been shooting Spoilers up there. So I said, hey, man, can me and Muse come watch it? We'll pay, but we got no seats. He's like, yeah, you come up and watch it in the projection booth. So first we went up, we were watching it from the projection booth, but it's really loud. The projector, the IMAX projector particularly, is insanely loud. So we're sitting right next to it. Tougher to hear the soundtrack. So we just went downstairs and stood in the back of the theater, man. And, I'm 42, so I'm standing up. I got varicose veins running down my legs. I'm starting to collapse. I'm feeling the vapors, if you will.
Yeah.
And then it didn't matter, though. The story had me in its grip so tightly that I didn't care, man. I was just way into it. Enough to go back the next day. I love Bane. All I do now is just Bane lines around the house.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's wondering why he would shoot the man. Him out of the plane. My wife was just like, I didn't like it in the movie. Please don't do it while we're fucking.
I didn't. I had a tough time understanding Bane.
Yeah, some people say that.
Yes, I really did.
There were definitely a few lines where it took me the second or third time to pick them up. Very few, though. I was really dialed in.
But Kevin, as a filmmaker, why would you allow that to go through, knowing that some people will have a tough time with some of the dialogue of that character?
To be fair, when they put the trailer out for the movie, the 6-minute opening sequence that they put at the top of, I think it was Mission Impossible, when it was out, they put out, Warner Bros. Released the 6 minutes of Bane on the plane and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
When they did that, immediately, I guess there was like over 50% of the respondents were like, I can't understand what Bane's saying. I wasn't one of them. I love the fact I couldn't understand, made me work harder to listen to them. Like, in the movie business, we're so used to spoon-feeding everybody the easiest access possible to the story and the details, and that's why there's so much exposition where somebody's just like, yeah, we have to get that bomb out of here or it might destroy this whole island and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for me, I like being challenged. I like where they make me work a little bit harder. So when I first heard the voice and it made me try harder to listen and to zero in on it, focus in on it, I thought that was great. Then I started reading stories about how so many people complained that they went through and redid all Bane's dialogue. And there are clips on YouTube. There's this one great clip where they take I think it's about 10 lines from the movie, from that opening sequence, and then put them up against the 10 lines, same 10 lines in the finished version of the movie. And they completely redid his voice. He completely re-recorded his performance as well.
Really?
And even in that, there were some people who were like, I still can't understand it. And I would have preferred if they kept it the way it was in the 6 minutes that they showed us before the movie came out. Go to YouTube, dude. Just click in Bane voice. And there's this one clip that somebody did. It's fantastic, where you get to hear all the lines as they originally were in the released 6 minutes from back in Christmas, and then it's the same lines from the current released version of the movie. They did a lot of work on it. So if they didn't do any of that work, you would have been really frustrated.
Yeah, no kidding.
Can I ask? I want to, because Kevin, you're the guy to ask this question. You brought up the point that Bane got shot by Catwoman with the gun, and Batman never really beat him. And people have complained about that left and right in the movie. Bane deserved a better death. I thought that was awesome, because I felt like that brought so much closure to this particular Batman story, which was, Batman, you can't beat this guy. He is stronger than you. He is more powerful. And then Catwoman comes in and shows Batman, look, some people need to be fucking shot and killed.
That's great.
And you're not going to go that far, so it's time to fucking step down.
Time to wake up and get a few firearms.
That would have made that an Academy Award-winning movie if there was just one brief 2-minute monologue.
Yes.
Oh, that's classic,
I
Joe.
appreciate the fact that your parents were killed by a gun, but every once in a while.
Once in a while, dude.
And now Catwoman has something on him.
Yeah, you know.
Little something. But did Bane die? Because they, kind of made it look like maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's still alive.
Yeah, that was my only problem with it, was when she shot him, I was like, wait, is he dead? And then they never went back to it. I was like, okay, I guess he is dead.
I think the way they get away with a lot of heightened violence in the Nolan flicks is they don't actually show it to you. It's more suggested. If you think back to The Dark Knight, whenever Heath Ledger is killing someone with a knife, you never see it. It's done with like a cutaway and a piercing kind of a violin shriek or something like that. So like, when he's brought to the gangster who's like, oh, I'll give $1 million for him, $500,000 for him dead, $1 million for him alive, so I could teach him manners. He brings him in there and he puts the knife to the Joker pops up out of the bag, puts the knife to the dude's face, to his mouth, and starts telling him the story about, I got these scars. And they tell the story, looks at the other guy, goes, why so serious? And then he quick does a movement to cut, and they cut from behind, and the dude drops to the floor. Now, logically speaking, he had a knife in his mouth. If you cut some dude's mouth with a knife, he ain't gonna die. He'll drop to the ground and start screaming and stuff. But in this movie, it's represented as him literally being dead. He drops him to the floor. He's no longer a threat whatsoever. They did that a few times in the movie. Every time he starts using a knife, there's no blood in evidence, so you get away with it. Same thing with shooting Bane, man. They shoot him with 2 rockets, but there's no blood or anything, so it's a pretty horrible death. But at the same time, you're like, I'm sorry, did he die? Because I see no evidence of blood.
Right. I don't even think they show his dead body. Like, he gets thrown. I mean, I only saw it once, but he gets thrown back when he gets shot.
Yeah,
and then
the room.
Yeah, he's just like in a wall or something, right?
He hit the wall and he slumped on the floor.
Yeah.
But that confused what you just said about the knife thing, the knife scene in Dark Knight when he kills Gamble. Like, that confused me too. I remember seeing that in the theater and being like, "What the fuck just happened? Did he just kill that guy?" Or like it was confusing.
And if he killed him, did he kill him by cutting his cheek open? Like, that would hurt.
Yeah, it would hurt.
That would suck.
If you're unattended for hours, you will definitely bleed out. But in that moment, you wouldn't suddenly be like, I'm dead like a video game character, just dropping to the floor.
Right, yeah.
And even if he moved it from the dude's mouth quickly down to his throat, I mean, I've never had my throat slit, but anytime you see someone get their throat slit in a movie, it usually takes them a little bit to die.
So you can make gurgle. Yeah, they gurgle a little.
It goes down.
Their
Yeah, there's a
neck.
little bit of gurgle.
Little gurgle.
Yeah, it's a good point about the.
We could sit here and pick a point, minor stuff about Dark Knight that bummed me out, but overall, just it was so big, dude. And they treated Batman, with the exception of the first half hour where Batman's like, I don't want to be Batman anymore, which is something you would never do. They treated Batman with absolute respect, I thought, and kind of gave him a nice closure, nice ending.
What did you think about Batman? I mean, Batman's always been known for using gadgets and using his money to purchase and make and invent these gadgets to use on his arch nemesis. But I felt like all Batman did with Bane was try to throw fists at him the whole movie, and I kind of thought that was a little lame.
People
Yeah, well, he had gadgets, right? But the gadgets were kind of like...
And another thing I thought that was kind of lame about it was that he tries to throw that magic drug powder in Bane's face. Like, you should know he's from the League of Shadows. It's not going to work, dude.
Yeah, but people...
Like, theatricality and deception.
People complain about the gadget thing, and my whole response to that was they showed the gadgets in the first movie. They showed more of them in the second movie. Nolan is clearly a filmmaker that was like, we've been there. We don't need to retrace this right now. This is an emotional, personal story about Batman.
But they're pitching Bane as this superhuman guy. Like, he's got this apparatus strapped to his face that's pumping him with super juice. And then Batman shows up with a bum leg, and instead of doing anything, instead of using his cunning or gadgets, he just throws his meaty fists at Bane.
The thing I didn't get was they showed you that leg thing he gets put on where he kicks through like the cement thing. I'm like, why didn't he use that
to kick through Bane's fucking face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely some issues with The Dark Knight Rises.
There's some holes.
A little bit. The leg brace was something I had a hard time with, too, where I'm like, and it's weird because, you got a movie about these people who are like, we have a clean energy device, which we've somehow turned into a bomb.
Well, how about the fact that the entire Gotham police force is underground for like a month and nobody has facial hair when they come out?
The movie...
That's a good one.
The movie did walk some weird mixed line between the right and the left politically, where it was like, look, you lefties, your fucking clean air device is evil, see? And then there was the Wall Street commentary. I was like, I don't know which side Christopher Nolan is on right now.
It was kind of like, in the issues that debate amongst all you mere mortals, the only thing that matters is Batman.
Yeah, I got to agree with him on that one. I liked the movie. I thought I loved the action. It was huge. To see it on the big IMAX screen was amazing.
Let's not forget about Anne Hathaway too. She
looked great in that little cat fucking.
I thought she did a great job.
Absolutely,
yeah.
she was gorgeous too.
They were saying she's not Michelle Pfeiffer, but I was like, well, Michelle Pfeiffer did great, but really think about that Catwoman in Batman Returns. Like, that's not even close.
Not even.
Catwoman in the comics. Like,
I think Anne Hathaway was better.
Yeah,
but that's not saying so much, though.
One of my best friends that I grew up with is Anne Hathaway's first cousin. And he came out to a show the other night, and I was talking to him, and just in the middle of the conversation, I go, oh, by the way, your cousin was the best Catwoman ever. And he was like, I know, wasn't she great? She was really good. Like, but it's funny watching a guy talk about
some naked
literally saying, like, it's my cousin playing Catwoman. But she was the best. Michelle Pfeiffer was good. But the fucking origin of that, we talked about that last time, with the cat's biting her fingers made her Catwoman. Go fuck yourself.
All of a sudden, she's like, I've been licked by zombie cats. I am Catwoman.
Yeah, that was stupid.
That had nothing to do with the comics whatsoever.
No.
So by that alone, Anne Hathaway's Catwoman, I thought, was a massive improvement in backstory, but just in terms of performance. Like, I'm not the world's biggest Anne Hathaway fan, but I thought she was really good in the flick.
Yeah, definitely.
There are a lot of people on Twitter. I kid you not. This movie came out 1 month and 4 days ago. I'm getting blown up on Twitter with people going, "You jackasses are spoiling the movie."
Oh, I know. I'm seeing it here too. A lot of people are pissed off. The movie's
spoilers. At least a month old now, right?
The movie, it came out July 20th. It's now August 24th.
Yeah, that's their fault then.
That's plenty of time.
Like, if you haven't been involved, it would be like, you can't talk about Avengers yet. Spoilers. Hey, man, it happened.
Yeah, stop. Kevin, we absolutely have to go. But what do you got going on? Give us one more time.
On Saturday, if you're anywhere near Manhattan, right near New York City, you come up, see Clerks projected on the big screen for free in Central Park. Brian O'Halloran going to be there. The guy who played Dante.
Cool.
Q&A.
Yeah.
The very next day, on Sunday, if you want to come be on our TV show, Comic Book Men, come down to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash in Red Bank from 2 to 5. We're doing a signing. You don't have to buy anything. People come in, just have stuff tagged or whatever. Bring your books if you've already bought them, the tough shit books. And we're going to do a signing from 2 to 5 on Sunday and shoot that for the TV show. So not only can you get your craft signed, you might be on TV with the Comic Book Men.
Very cool, Kevin. Always a pleasure, sir.
Yes,
Always
Kevin
pleasure,
Smith. Thanks, man. And we'll talk to you soon.
Great talking to you guys. Love talking Batman this early in the morning.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Cool,
All
man.
right.
Take it easy, Kevin.
And, of course, that Kevin Smith on Twitter.